Happy Sunday, everyone. You are listening to Serving Tea. Happy Sunday, Z.
Happy Sunday. How was your weekend, Fitz?
It was great. I did a little shopping this weekend. Treated myself. I went to H&M, little Zara, went to Buffalo Exchange, got some great stuff.
You got guys, the stuff that Fitz got from H&M. I don't know what it is right now, probably because it's winter, but leather, like if I could just wrap me in leather.
I know, I'm wearing like a faux leather jacket right now.
You are.
I've been seeing so many hauls on TikTok recently for H&M. They've been crushing it.
Yeah.
So good.
And like the Zara leather jacket, or not the leather jacket, she got a leather dress, drop dead stunning. I'm like, I need to go to Zara and get that immediately.
It's so cute. And it comes with a little leather belt too.
Ooh.
And it has cute sleeves. I saw it. I was like, I need this.
And the sweaters and everything. And then okay, so those glasses that are in right now, everybody has those, right? Mm-hmm. It's just the thin black ones.
The rectangles.
Exactly. Rectangles and then circles too. Mm-hmm. I love those. If I could wear sunglasses, I pretty much do wear those all the time. I feel like at gospel, that was so funny.
Yes. So funny. Oh my God.
Oh my
glasses inside.
Yeah, glasses inside.
It's always been a thing, but now it's the thing to do.
It's the thing.
And colored glasses. I also feel that if you have colored glasses that match your outfit, I just think that it elevates it a little more.
God.
It makes you look a little more put together, a little more stylish. I have a pair of pink ones, blue ones, and orange ones. And even if you just wear head to toe black and you have a pop of color on your eyes, I just think it looks so cool.
Oh, and I think learning that trend, I think that came from New York City because or maybe
Elton
that was
John, probably.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, I totally disrespected Elton John. So, but I see so many people do that, and I mean, you crush it with the colored glasses. You gotta put it on, a little extra pop, pizzazz. It's amazing. This weekend, I ate so much food.
I don't even remember what I ate.
Oh my God,
Chipotle, obviously.
I feel okay, guys. We have a Chipotle a block away from our house, LOL, our apartment, and we Uber eat it. It would be faster to just walk there. Mm-hmm. But we Uber eat it, spend, the additional $47 in delivery charges. But yeah, probably at least 4 times a week. I mean, maybe not 4 times a week. I mean, on a bad week, I feel like, okay, the most I've had Chipotle in a week here.
Probably around 4 times.
Yeah.
I ordered it yesterday, but it almost acts as 2 meals. Yeah. Lunch and dinner.
It does.
It's just so good. But if you get the chips and guac and the queso and delivery with a good tip, I'm $35.
Yeah. No, for sure. But we tip good here.
I walked yesterday. It was also on my way back from somewhere where I'm shopping, so I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. That would be embarrassing if I passed by it and then still proceeded to do Uber Eats.
Because the thing is, it's like when I pass by Chipotle, I'm like, I don't want it because I want to eat healthier than Chipotle. And to me, it's like, Chipotle is healthy in my eyes.
I don't know. That bad for you. You can do a healthy version. I remember one person had said, don't do the 3 C's. It's chips, cheese, and then a little sour cream with a C. Oh. But I mean, I'm not the biggest cheese fan. I mean, I like pepper jack cheese. I like spicy cheese. But what I do, they have improved their queso. It's so good now. Good. Remember the first time, once it got released, it was not good. Mm-hmm. And now they've really, Chipotle, kudos, snaps for Chipotle.
They figured it out.
They figured it out. It is so good.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Oh, yeah. So, I actually had Chipotle this morning, but last night.
For breakfast.
Yeah, for breakfast. It's like my go-to hangover meal. I don't know if anybody else feels similarly. It's so funny. I eat it, and then I immediately regret it. But last night, went to an Italian restaurant. My aunt was in town. It was the first time that she came up to actually. So, for those of you that don't know, live with fits here, obviously. But in the building, Omar, my cousin, lives there, and our aunt hadn't been up literally in 10 months. So she finally saw his place, which is so nice. And then we went out to a nice dinner. And then today they went to the Jets game.
So
and they were
fun.
playing the Eagles. And I think the Eagles lost, unfortunately.
I think the Eagles won.
Oh, we did?
I think
okay.
the Eagles did win.
I'm not a fan. Or, I mean, I'm like not a football follower, but like go Eagles.
I wonder when the Bucks play. I think they played, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Ooh. But yeah, so had a lot of good food this weekend. Really looking forward to a productive week this week.
This month, is today the 5th?
Today is the 5th of December. And it's still pretty warm out.
Thanksgiving was a week and a half ago.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my God, Thanksgiving. Oh wow, I miss Thanksgiving.
I know.
I love that meal.
I've been really craving Ben and Jerry's fish food. What is your go-to Ben and Jerry's flavor?
Okay, this may be so grandma, but Cherry Garcia. I swear to God.
I'm not a cherry.
See, no, the cherries taste. People understand me out there. I know people love Cherry Garcia.
Cherry Garcia. Shout out Cherry Garcia. Also, Jimmy Fallon has his own. I think it's a Tonight Show flavor.
The Tonight Dough. So
That's
good.
what it's called. The Tonight Dough.
The Tonight Dough.
Genius.
Oh my God.
Shout out Jimmy.
That's another thing. We need to go see a Jimmy Fallon show.
No.
Gosh.
And an SNL show.
Jimmy Fallon, SNL, and then even Wendy Williams. Mm-hmm. Our girl Wendy Williams. Wait, oh my God. Wendy, what's the TikTok? Is like, pull up in the Sri Lanka.
Oh yeah.
Wait, did anyone see our TikTok on serving tea about when we were talking about Dennis?
Oh yeah, love means nothing. It's a corny phrase I have to say.
Speaking of TikTok, and then I promise we'll get into the episode. I had a really monumental day yesterday. The most views I've ever had on a TikTok.
How
2,000.
many? Let's go.
It's nothing.
It's something.
I'm going viral.
You are.
So anyway, that was super funny. But today we are talking about a more difficult topic. And I think a lot of people, I mean, if you search tennis news, literally on Google, this is circulating everywhere. And before we get into the episode, it's just, it's sad. Mm-hmm. It's sad to see that something like this is still happening as we live in this country and the censorship is not to this degree. And the government doesn't have that big or that much control over what you put and put out on the internet. So it's alarming. Yeah. It's alarming, but that's my opinion going into this. And then even doing some of the research too. It's sad. It's sad.
It's so sad. And just like what you're saying, the fact that this is still going on in this day and age, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, seriously.
I can't imagine what she's feeling like and her family. Oh,
I know. And that's the thing. It's like the silence is
so loud.
Yeah. Yes. The silence, it's scary because we're sitting here and she's really, okay, we'll just get into it. Mm-hmm. So Peng Shuai, for those of you that don't know who she is, she's a 2-time Grand Slam doubles champion and one of China's top tennis players. She's 35 years old, and she made history in 2014 when she became the first Chinese player, male or female, to achieve the world #1 doubles ranking.
Wow.
Yeah. Her 2 major doubles titles were won at Wimbledon in 2013 and the French Open in 2014. She has won 25 tour titles and obtained a number 17 world singles rank. She's a solid tennis player.
To say the least.
Literally a solid tennis player. And so that's who Peng Shuai is. And essentially Peng Shuai is in the middle of a situation with Zhang Gaoli. And Zhang Gaoli, 75 years old, served on the ruling Communist Party's 7-person Politburo Standing Committee, the country's supreme leadership body. He served there from 2012 to 2017 during Chinese leader Xi Jinping's first term in power. And he retired as vice premier in 2018. So this man essentially is being accused of sexually assaulting Peng. And I wanted to read verbatim from this article from The Cut. And it just does such a good job of explaining what's going on right now. So I'm going to read most of this article. It's not long. And then I think we can just talk about it after. So like I said, right, on the court, 35-year-old Chinese tennis star Peng Shuai. She's a 3-time Olympian, won 25 tour titles over the course of her career. Her trailblazing success helps propel Chinese women's tennis. So this November, she disappeared. The circumstances of Shui's disappearance are disconcerting. On November 2nd, Shui accused Zhang Gaoli, China's former vice president under Xi Jinping, of sexual assault in a post on Weibo, a Chinese social media platform. The post was taken down minutes after it went up and subsequently scrubbed from the Weibo search engine. Not only was Shui scrubbed from the internet, she went missing in real life too. After posting the allegation, which is the first public Me Too accusation against a high-ranking Communist Party official in China, Shui wasn't seen in public for 2 weeks, sparking concern for her safety. In response to the international outcry, the Chinese government has made concerted but unconvincing efforts to prove that Shui is okay, claiming that she's resting at home. But a lot of people aren't buying it. And so that's pretty much what's going on. To get into actually what she said. So on November 2nd of this last month, in a post written as a direct address to Gaoli, Shui wrote that in 2018, Gaoli, who was 75, invited her to play tennis with him and his wife. She said that the three of them went to Gaoli's home afterward and that Gaoli coerced her into having sex with him. This is a quote from Shui. "I did not consent that first afternoon. I cried the whole time. After dinner, when I was still reluctant, you said that you hated me," she wrote. In the post, she also recounted having had consensual sex with Gaoli 10 years earlier when he was the party chief of Tianjin, and addressed the fact that she had no physical evidence of the assault. And I quote again, "You were always afraid I would make recordings and keep them as evidence. In fact, I have no evidence or proof other than my own word," Shui wrote. "But even if it's just me, like an egg hitting a rock or a moth to the flame, courting self-destruction, I'll tell the truth about you." Shui also wrote that the trauma left her feeling like a walking corpse. And that's a lot.
Oh my gosh.
It's a lot. So minutes after, so I'll get it. Okay, so in China's heavily monitored, censorship-heavy cyberspace, the post was taken down in half an hour, and searches for tennis, Peng Shuai, and Zhang Gaoli were temporarily blocked.
So if I were to type in Peng Shui's name on the internet, it wouldn't show up. So basically she disappeared. Disappeared
from the face of the planet. Disappeared. You couldn't see her. In that instance, she no longer existed. I've been hearing a lot. You know the Mandala Effect? Have you heard of this effect?
No.
So it's so funny. I just heard about it yesterday, but I've heard about it in previous things. And of course, it's already popping up on my TikTok. But essentially, something that you remember from your childhood. So I saw this one TikTok today, and it was that the fairy from Peter Pan used to fly across the Disney screen, the intro to Disney movies, and tap on the D, and her wand wouldn't work. Vividly remembers that the fairy would do that. But now, because Disney has a completely different intro to their movies, it no longer exists. So essentially it was just never there. Okay. So it's just everybody has their own history in their head. I think I'm doing a really bad explanation of this, but where I'm going with it is that Peng Shuai, for people, she just disappeared. She never lived. If you went to research Peng Shuai or look up Peng Shuai in China, she was not a person. She was not there. But all of us in the States, everybody knows she's real. But in China, she's not there anymore.
So even on Google, if I were to type in her name, nothing would pop up.
nothing would pop up.
But if I look it up here, it would.
Yep. And I've even seen things where, like, okay, a news network, I think it might have been CNN, where in China they do broadcast CNN, but when they would talk about Peng Shuai, they would cut it off. Like, the government is really heavily regulating what's being said and not said. In this specific circumstance, we're seeing that, but it is highly, highly regulated in China anyway. So, lost my spot. So temporary blocked. Private accounts who sent screenshots of the post were suspended. So, like, if you took a screenshot, see, that's what's so scary.
They could have suspended
you because you had a picture
of it.
Like, of it. So it's like they know who's taking pictures of these things. Like, they're really watching, like Big Brother.
Oh my,
gosh. And
so scary.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Shuai hadn't been heard from since posting the accusation. Around the world, while support for Shuai continued to grow, many began to worry for her safety. A number of tennis stars, including Osaka, Serena Williams, Billie Jean King, Rafael Nadal, denounced censorship and expressed their concerns for Shuai. So again, the WTA told CNN that he was prepared to, so Steve Simon, head of the WTA, told CNN that he was prepared to pull its business in China in response to what had happened. And since he said that, they actually did fully suspend all play.
All props, snaps, or whatever you want to do, applause to the WTA, stands for Women's Tennis Association. Thank you for doing that, for taking the WTA and all of their tournaments out of China. And I remember even reading something where they're going to lose millions of dollars from pulling those tournaments away. But it's, thank you for doing that. Yeah. Not putting profit over the health and safety of a player. It's that the health and safety of every single player is so much more important than making money in any tournament. And
Always.
I think that they are really putting out a good message that they have not low tolerance, they have zero tolerance for anything like this.
Yeah.
And shout out to Steve Simon.
Yep.
Just thank you for doing that and setting a message. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but pulling out all of the tournaments, all play from China, what that message is going to do.
Exactly.
And it's the best thing that they could have done.
Yeah. They're losing millions of dollars in China because they're not going to bring in that same, I mean, it's all, we talked about this on our podcast.
Profit. That's what everyone just cares about with these businesses. It's like, why can't they just put the money aside and just think about the life of this tennis player? And thankfully that is what, the WTA is doing, is they're putting Peng Shuai first. They don't care. Steve Simon doesn't care about how much money they're going to be losing in China by pulling out those tournaments, because that doesn't matter. It is so much more than, it's just so much more than making money throughout tournaments. It is about the life of Peng Shuai and making sure that she's okay, making sure that she is safe, because that is what matters. And I think that they are sending an amazing message to also other organizations for sports too, just having zero tolerance for anything like this.
Yeah, seriously. It's so true, because most of the time I feel like you see these businesses just operate in a way that's going to benefit the bottom line. And he's losing millions of dollars from this, but it's way more important to find. I mean,
it's the principles and the morals. You're talking about human life here.
Seriously.
Where, women are so afraid to speak up about this, and look what ends up happening.
Yup. Like, okay, for almost 3 weeks following the accusation, Peng was not seen in public and her whereabouts were not publicly disclosed. That is terrifying.
So like, not only was she missing on the internet, she was also missing in real life.
Yep. Missing in real life. So that's so scary. I remember talking about it with my younger brother, Ziad, and we were just like, as soon as we saw the news break, both of us, as sad as this was, we're like, we're never going to see her again. Like, for her to accuse someone in such a high rank in the Communist Party.
And like you said in that article, this was the first time where a Me Too accusation was against a Chinese
government official.
And it's just...
Yep.
Gosh, I remember seeing this one thing. It was saying that even if, Peng Shuai is alive. We have to make sure that she's safe. Just because, oh God, I cannot imagine the fear of her family, of her friends, what they're going through.
And that's what's so scary, because now, so everybody was so loud about it, right? Everybody was like, where is she? Hashtag, where is Peng Shuai? Wasn't that the hashtag that was circulating? Yeah. I talked about how Naomi Osaka, Djokovic was public about it. Serena was public about it. Nadal. So we were loud. And since then, she has reappeared. So, and I'm quoting, new video clips of the tennis star were tweeted by members of Chinese state media. I can't read when I'm reading.
No, you're doing
it's
great.
A joke.
Stop it.
So, members of Chinese state media on November 20th and 21st. One clip appears to show Peng sitting with China Open tournament co-director Zhang Gaoli. I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly.
I think you are.
And two women around a table in a restaurant in Beijing. The clips appeared to deliberately emphasize specific dates. That's so sketchy. Throughout the video, Zhang is speaking to Peng, but she doesn't say anything. So it just looks and I don't know if people have seen pictures of this.
I don't know if that's even released.
So she actually is sitting down because they wanted this public.
Okay.
The government wants this to come out. No, she's here, guys. Don't worry about it.
Are they pushing that? Because then that almost makes it look
exactly
not believable. And that's what also in the article said, people aren't buying it.
Exactly. And on Sunday, members of the Chinese state media released more videos on social media purporting to show Peng at a tennis event for teenagers in Beijing. Throughout the video, Peng says very little but is seen smiling. It's it just looks so staged. Mm-hmm. Then later on Sunday, I believe this was last Sunday, the International Olympic Committee announced its president, Thomas Bach, held a video phone call with Peng. The two were accompanied on the call by a Chinese sports official, Li Lingwei, as well as the chair of the Athletes Commission, Emma Turow. So they're on a call. It lasted 30 minutes. Peng, she's speaking to the International Olympic Committee, right? She's speaking to Thomas Bach. But again, it just looks very scripted. She's with a Chinese official. It's
probably
not
filtering what she can and can't say.
Exactly. How do we know? See, I feel like I've watched a lot of horror movies, but this just makes me think behind the camera, are there a bunch of people, if you say one wrong thing, we're going to kill your family?
She's literally being filtered as, that's probably, they're probably saying you can say this, you can't say this, if you say this. Mm-hmm. I feel it, yeah. And then even with the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, the Winter Olympics is starting in February of 2022 in Beijing. And I remember seeing a tweet about, I think Martina Navratilova had said something about why isn't the IOC speaking up about it?
Yeah. The IOC, they should do the same exact thing that the WTA is doing.
Exactly.
But imagine the money that he's probably, right. I don't know.
Granted, it's the Winter Olympics next year in February, so the tennis wouldn't be played. But in the future, the Olympics has been in China multiple times. Is that something where if it would be, hey, tennis is not, they're basically, I feel like they would boycott tennis in the Olympics if it were to be in China again.
Yeah. They should, there's a woman missing. This is so scary. She has the first public Me Too and she goes missing. What? So the IOC statement said Peng thanked the committee for its concern about her well-being and insisted that she is quote unquote safe and well living in her home in Beijing, but would like to have her privacy respected at this time. That is why she prefers to spend her time with friends and family right now. It's that just scares me. What if their families are what if her family is in danger? We don't know.
Right.
And this is just my brain thinking worst possible case scenarios. But for her to accuse a Chinese government official, one that, I don't know. And then all of the posts are deleted. She's deleted from the face of the earth on the internet. and then she goes missing, and now she's back and is a puppet.
Oh my gosh.
She's a puppet. She's a puppet. So the authorities, again, like, it's all the same message, but everybody is concerned about her. They're worried that, you know, she is just being a puppet right now. They're not satisfied with what they're hearing from her because it just sounds way too formal. Like, there was somewhere that I read she had sent an email. It was like, everything is going well. I don't know. It just sounds really scripted and not like she's pulling back on what she was saying before. Like, I didn't mean it. And that's so scary.
It's so scary. It's so sad. And just everything that has come out, that's why people are afraid to speak up.
Exactly. And like, so essentially what's going on now and like what's going to happen next. So there's significant pressure, if you can imagine, on the Chinese authorities to provide proof that Peng is safe. And the WTA chief, Simon, that we were just talking about, is pulling out WTA tournaments in China, losing hundreds of millions of dollars. But this is way more important. He's just not, he
doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about the profit that they're losing because they're putting 110% effort into making sure that she's okay.
He's saying, like, this is way bigger than the business.
Yeah. Way bigger than just money.
You cannot, I mean, she's not dead, but I'm just like, you should be allowed to say what you want in a situation like this. Like, if you are sexually assaulted as a female, you should be able to voice your concerns without fear. And it's just so scary.
And imagine if the WTA decided not to pull the tournaments. How horrible would that be? It'd just be focused more. That would just be an example of a company focused on money and profit. But I am just so happy that they decided to pull the tournaments because that is 100% the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I even saw, like, when I was doing more of my research, there was this one show that had like a completely different take on what was going on. And that, like, essentially it's more traditional in Asian culture when something is going on as big as this, that you do get more private, you spend more time with your family. So this woman was saying, like, hey, let's not be quick to say that she actually is in danger. Like, culturally, this makes sense for people to pull back in situations like this. But that was the only, like, other side of the spectrum that I saw, which was interesting. But I mean, in my opinion, I'm like, you gotta save Peng Shuai.
Yeah. And then also I'm always pretty active on Twitter, just looking at what everyone's saying. Indie Roddick even said, there are a lot of organizations who can afford to do something like this a lot more than the WTA can, ... Respect. Doing the right thing is a lot easier when there aren't associated costs. I continue to be proud to be in the tennis orbit. # Peng Shuai.
Wow.
That was in, let's see here. And then Martina Navratilova, she had also said, this is a brave stance by Steve Simon in the WTA where we put principle above money and stand up for women everywhere and particularly for Peng Shuai. Now, what do you say at IOC, so International Olympic Committee? So far, I can barely hear you. So Martina is strictly calling out the IOC for not saying anything, being silent where that just speaks louder. The silence is so loud from the IOC, and that is what Martina is saying on Twitter.
Like, someone just had an opinion. Someone literally, Peng Shuai was sexually assaulted by a government official, and she publicly speaks out about it and then goes missing. I mean, I'm a broken record at this point, but the fact that more businesses like the IOC that's about to have a massive sporting event in Beijing or in China, where is it? Is it in Beijing?
Yeah, it's in Beijing. Starts February 4th.
It's crazy. How are they not How are they not doing anything about it?
By you not saying anything,
you're condoning the behavior.
Yes, you're supporting it. What else does that mean by you not saying anything? And Chris Everett even said, proud of Steve Simon and the WTA for following through, hoping the rest of the powers of tennis, other sports, and even businesses follow suit. Now let's concentrate on finding Peng Shuai.
Because and it's not even, okay, so I'm sure those tweets were circulating when she was still missing, because now that she's found, it's even more eerie, because it's like she's withholding information. She's not saying the same things anymore. She's like, no, I'm fine. I just want to be with my family. Like, no, you were loud before all of this about how, you were addressing Gaoli. And now you're fine. Like, it's almost more scary right now that she's found and everything is picture perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so scary. So,
and yet the WTA, this was in response to their tweet 4 days ago. With the full support of the WTA Board of Directors, I'm announcing the immediate suspension of all WTA tournaments in China, including Hong Kong. And just seeing here endless support from tennis commentators, former Grand Slam winners, current players. I'm just so happy that everyone is fully on board with the WTA's decision because it is 110% the right choice.
Exactly.
And it speaks volumes too about the WTA as an organization on, putting their players first.
Yeah. And I've always felt that way too. I mean, you look at the top female athletes, from a money standpoint, who's getting paid the most. And it's most of the time tennis players, because if you look at the tournaments, they're getting equal pay, which is great. And that's how it should be. And unfortunately, it's not like that. But I just feel like tennis has always had their hand on the pulse. Is that the saying? Their fingers on the pulse of just what's going on from I don't know, an equality standpoint.
Right. I know that it's so true. At the end of the year, whenever they release the top paid female or male athletes for female athletes, I think it's usually 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 are tennis players.
Yeah.
Serena, Sharapova. Also, Sharapova was on Shark Tank.
Oh my God. Wait, I remember seeing
She was on an episode of Shark Tank. I watched only a couple minutes of it, but I need to go back and watch it again. But yeah, Maria Sharapova was on Shark Tank.
She's just out here with making, percentage.
Investments.
Yeah, making
Love
investments.
To see it.
And yeah, I don't even know what I'm trying to say with that. It's so sad about Peng.
I just hope that, oh gosh, I just hope everything's okay. I hope,
it's just tough because a lot of what this stuff, in a way, this is how I feel about global warming. And yeah, I would just say global warming as the example. It's so much of it is out of my control. Yes, I make the conscious decision every day to recycle, but what's that one Netflix documentary that we were watching?
The Day, the Year.
Not that one. It's the one about the fisheries. The Seaspiracy.
Seaspiracy.
So Seaspiracy, you're watching how the governments are just lying to us. They're saying they're not overfishing. If the government does not have our best interests in a way, how am I going to do anything? Right. And that's how I feel with Peng, because it's realistically, I can be as loud as I want on Twitter. We're talking about her here. We want to raise awareness. But again, everything that we're saying is censored and not ever even making it into China.
Yeah.
So as far as Peng is concerned, no one gives a shit. I don't know. That, because it's so, what else can we do? We're talking about it here, the whole world behind her.
I mean, even the IOC not saying anything, that just that speaks volumes.
Exactly.
By them not saying anything. Also, are there other sports organizations that are talking about this? We all need to be talking about this so much more. It needs to be the front page of everything. It needs to be the top story, not just last week, but until things are settled.
That's the one thing. Yeah, that's the one thing that frustrates me about the news. It's okay, what's going to pay the most in the moment, right? And Peng Shuai when she went missing, great, and it was circulating for like 2 weeks.
It needs
but
to
it
still
stopped.
be, people need to still be talking about this.
Exactly.
Other organizations need to be coming out and supporting the WTA's decision for pulling all tournaments out of China. Like, this is such a monumental thing. This is obviously the first time this has ever happened, with the WTA pulling all tournaments out of China.
That's never happened.
Never happened. And this just needs to be talked about more and more. And I just can't believe that what has happened to her after she was brave enough to come up to say what happened to her. I just can't believe the events following after that this is even a thing, that this is happening in this day and age.
Yeah, because you got to think, for her to be the first Me Too in China, as I would say, I mean, when did the Me Too movement?
A top female athlete, probably 6-7 years ago, maybe.
Okay, that's nuts. I think, you're probably right.
But
like, no one wants, as a female, it's just tough to talk about that, and no one wants to talk about that because it's like, oh, like, were you provoking him? Like, always the fingers pointing the other way. But like, for her to be brave enough to share that story in China, and then, like, this is why they don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is why women don't come forward. I swear to God. I swear to God, it's not even funny. Like, this is what happens on obviously a very extreme, this is an extreme example, but women, it's so tough. So it's like, I, again, in a way, feel helpless. I'm scared for her. I'm thinking about her family.
It's just like, what can we do?
What can we do
to help her? It's
other than this, other than us talking about it. So, I mean, our listeners, post about Peng Shuai, keep her in the moment, right? Let's not forget that she's found, but it's
about being safe and her being comfortable and her being okay.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to. I don't want to hear it from the news that she's okay. I want to hear it from her. I want to see her playing again. I want to see her winning Grand Slams. I want to see that she's okay.
Yeah.
And I want, we all want to hear it from her.
Exactly.
Because there's so much speculation. There's so many people just not fully believing it from the articles that you were just reading. So I just thinking and praying for her family, her friends, and just thank you, everyone, so much for listening in. Please keep talking about this, sharing this on social media. Talk about it with your family, your friends. Things like this they need to change. This should never be happening.
Exactly. But I agree. We appreciate you guys tuning in today. I hope everyone enjoys their week this week. We will be back next week.